I had a brief discussion with someone yesterday, and they were highlighting kind of the authority of Jesus's words and how they should not be changed and how they are ultimate truth. And I have been challenging that, and I understand that will not be well received, but I want to explain my angle and motive behind it. When I read the Bible now, I read it through a different lens, through a different conscious awareness. And Jesus's words were good and appropriate for the time. But there is an element of division in his entire teaching, or at least, in the very least, we read it as such, and we take it as authoritative scriptures, authoritative word and motive and agenda. Take for instance, in one passage Jesus says, I have come to bring a sword, I have come to divide, I have come to separate families and households, 2 against 3 and 3 against 2. Clearly a message of division. And I can see the progression of this, that eventually and ultimately Jesus changed toward a bend of unification, union with God and union with one another. But if he initially came with the motive to divide and separate, a lot of us have taken that as ultimate truth, and we have adopted that, and we've taken that into our own family, and it's become a subconscious battle cry, a war cry, and we feel justified when our families are falling apart and we live at odds and at war with one another. We feel justified because Jesus said those words. Yes, Jesus said those words. He said a lot of other rude things, like when he spoke to his own mother, he said, "Woman, what have I to do with you? What concern is this to you?" Like a very condescending tone. Jesus was not the perfect man that we assumed that he was. He certainly wasn't born perfect. He was born with an ego. And his egoic traits show through his words, at least in the English rendering. So there's a lot of things that Jesus did and said that we really should not want to emulate, because they were an egoic expression, like arguing with the Pharisees and calling them names, or being rude to his mother, like I just pointed out. we have to be very discerning, even in Jesus' words, the red letters, and not presume them to be the ultimate truth and the authority of how we should conduct our lives, because it does not usually lead to loving one another. It leads to dividing one another, to argue with one another, to make enmity with one another. Those are the years where Jesus' consciousness was still developing. And we have to keep that in mind if we want to perfect our understanding and want to actually do greater things than Jesus did. And doing greater things includes knowing greater things, understanding things in a greater way, in a more expanded way. So no, I personally do not take Jesus' words as the blueprint to follow and imitate, because he was not always the most loving and kindest person that walked the earth. That's just reality. That's not made up. What's made up is the fictitious image of his perfect love that we believe he had. But he did come to that point at his final hour when he died on the cross and was able to forgive everyone, even those children of the devil that put him on the cross. And that's a big consciousness expansion.